Hello. This presentation is the third of three regarding Saving Sierra High. The first presentation comes from our town hall meetings and is meant to give an overview of what Saving Sierra High is all about. For those that want to better understand how schools are funded in California, we have put together a second presentation on how schools and districts are funded. This third presentation looks at our local school bond, Measure U, which will be on the November 2024 general ballot. None of us like the idea of another tax, which we have fought as a community for years. We are not a bunch of career politicians who are asking for your money, and once we get it, you're left wondering how it will be used. Rather, we all get a say on how the money, if approved, will be used and monitored, and that it is being done wisely. Truly, it is our school, our say in securing Sierra High's future. When we talk about Sierra High School, we mean everyone in our community. That means everyone. It's not just a campus for our students. It's not just a campus for our students. It is also our community center. It is also our community center, where a diverse group of events and gatherings. A diverse group of events and gatherings. Look at this list and think about how many of these events you and think how many of these events and your friends have enjoyed. Your family and your friends have enjoyed. When any local measure is put on the ballot in Fresno County, it is given a letter that starts with the next letter from the previous election. If there is more than one measure that will be put on the ballot, and you have a preference for a specific letter in the new range, you can petition for it. For this election, the letter S, as in Sierra, was in the range, but so many campaigns requested it, the elections office did not make it available to anyone. Our next choice was the letter U, because we want to hit the message hard that you, as in you and I, have a vested interest in the success of this bond. First, let's look at how the bond measure will read on the ballot. It includes a brief description of the scope of the projects, as we have discussed, in language that is very broad and will cover all the items in the master plan. Next, it states how much the bond will be for, including current interest rates. The next part states what the effect will be on property owners and the amount that will be raised annually. Finally, the final segment describes briefly how the district will be held accountable for the funds from the bond. In order to pass, local school bonds require 55% approval by voters. Due to fluctuations in property tax valuations and interest rates, we are careful not to give precise estimates. Just as when you purchase a new home, many of the financial details are not known until you are about to close escrow. It is estimated that tax levies for this bond will end by 2057. The total estimated principal and interest that will be repaid will be about $55 million. Again, these are estimates at this time, but as the bonds are sold after the election, we will have solid numbers to report. As we've said before, the additional property tax an owner will pay is based on the assessed value, not what the property is worth in the current market. The amount will be $45 per 100 thousandths of that assessed value. The bond measure is asking voters to approve $24,150,000, which is an amount short of our immediate needs identified in the master plan. To do this, it is estimated property owners will pay about $45 for every $100,000 of the assessed value. This is not the same as what the property is worth in today's market, and is usually substantially less than the market value. To show this, we've chosen 5 random properties throughout our mountain community and looked at Zillow's estimate of market value compared to Fresno County's assessed value. For example, a property in Auberry having a market value of $244,100 only has an assessed value of $53,981. The bond contribution for this property will be $24 a year. The use of school bond monies is watched very closely by both local citizens and state agencies. None of the bond's proceeds can be used for salaries, operating costs, or for work done outside the scope of the high school and the alternative education facilities. Since the local bond monies are only for these locations, any matching funds against bond revenues can only be used for high school or alternative education facilities. An important part of the bond is the public accountability portion. A Citizens Oversight Committee must be established within 60 days of the bond passing and being accepted by the trustees. Each year, an independent financial audit is required. In addition, a performance audit that makes sure monies are only being spent for what was approved to meet long-term goals is also done. The Citizen Oversight Committee is very important to the ongoing success of the bond and its communication to the community. It is made up of at least 7 volunteers, some of which have to be from specific groups, such as a parent, a member of a seniors organization, and a member of the taxpayers organization. The members are approved by the trustees, and people will be encouraged to apply for this important committee. The annual financial and performance audits have strict state and federal guidelines that must be followed and must be made available to the public. The next 2 slides show a more detailed description of first the performance audit, then the financial audit. The performance audit focuses on whether the proceeds of the bond is being done efficiently and effectively. It is done annually by an independent group. A focus is placed on whether or not the work is being done on a timely basis and within budget. All findings and determinations are reported to the trustees and to the public. The financial audit is mandated by law to make sure funds are being used as they were intended and in a financially prudent way. It is also done annually by a CPA with experience in school district audits. The audit will make sure funds are being used for authorized purposes with accepted good accounting principles always being followed. All findings and determinations are reported to the trustees and to the public. The full text of the bond identifies all the possible areas that monies from the bond may be used for, plus any peripheral projects related to fulfilling the projects. A more detailed look at the master plan and project priorities can be found by watching the town hall video. Where can you find out your assessed value? Two places. The first is on your property tax bill towards the lower right corner, where the value is summarized. You want to look for the net taxable value. You can also go to the Fresno County Assessor's Office website, enter your information, and it will return your assessed value. We understand this is a lot of information to digest. We invite you to email your questions, or better yet, attend one of our town hall meetings before the election. We continue to thank you for your interest in Saving Sierra High and for taking the time to be a better informed voter.